The Tale of the Two Gardens. Once upon a time, in a small village, there lived two brothers named Rohan and Ryan. They were identical twins, but they had very different personalities. Rohan was kind, gentle, and loved helping others, while Ryan was selfish, greedy, and only cared about himself. One day, their wise old grandfather gave them each a small piece of land to cultivate. He told them that they could grow anything they wanted, but they had to take care of their gardens themselves. Rohan was thrilled. He decided to grow a variety of fruits, vegetables, and flowers. He worked hard every day, watering, pruning, and nurturing his plants. He also shared his seeds and tools with his friends and neighbors. Ryan, on the other hand, was only interested in growing the most valuable and expensive plants. He planted rare orchids and exotic spices, hoping to sell them for a high price. He didn't care about sharing his resources or helping others. As time passed, Rohan's garden flourished. His plants grew strong and healthy, and his garden became a haven for birds, bees, and butterflies. The villagers would often visit Rohan's garden, admiring its beauty and tranquility. Ryan's garden, however, began to wither and die. His plants were weak and sickly, and his garden became a mess of weeds and trash. The villagers avoided Ryan's garden, fearing its neglect and decay. One day, a severe storm hit the village, destroying many of the gardens. Rohan's garden was damaged, but it quickly recovered due to his careful planning and hard work. Ryan's garden, however, was completely destroyed. He was left with nothing but a barren piece of land. The grandfather visited them after the storm. He saw the destruction of Ryan's garden and the resilience of Rohan's. He sat them down and told them a story. Long ago, there were two farmers who lived in this village. One farmer was kind and generous, sharing his crops with his neighbors. The other farmer was selfish and greedy, hoarding his crops for himself. When a severe drought hit the land, the kind farmer's crops began to wither. But his neighbors, who had benefited from his kindness, came together to help him. They shared their own water and seeds, and together they managed to save the kind farmer's crops. The selfish farmer, however, was left to fend for himself. He had no one to turn to, and his crops died. He was left with nothing. The moral of the story, my dear grandsons, is that kindness and generosity will always yield a bountiful harvest. Selfishness and greed will only lead to barrenness and decay. The moral of the story, my dear grandsons, is that kindness and generosity will always yield a bountiful harvest. Selfishness and greed will only lead to barrenness and decay. Rohan and Ryan looked at each other, understanding the lesson. Ryan apologized for his selfish ways and promised to change. Rohan forgave his brother and offered to help him rebuild his garden. Together, the brothers worked hard to restore Ryan's garden. They shared their knowledge, seeds, and tools, and soon Ryan's garden began to flourish. The villagers who had once avoided Ryan's garden now admired its beauty and tranquility. Ryan had learned a valuable lesson about the importance of kindness and generosity. The two brothers continued to tend to their gardens side by side, spreading joy and beauty throughout the village. The two brothers continued to tend to their gardens side by side, spreading joy and beauty throughout the village. The two brothers continued to tend to their gardens side by side, spreading joy and beauty throughout the village.